I'm so excited for these upcoming months. Every time I did want to sit down and hammer out a video on the upcoming Yakuza games, Gaiden and Infinite Wealth, I got into a pattern of not knowing where to start. Other great content creators out there have done great jobs breaking down the summit and the various trailers we've done so far. Not like I couldn't have brought my own twist to them, but I feel like I would just recap the trailers and the summit, but only highlight what I'm interested in, and that would mainly be the side content we've seen so far, if you were wondering. It looks like that RGG are going to go all out marketing these two games until they release in a couple days or so, and then in January. So now is probably the best time to present my thoughts on these games, and it is my primary motivation for making this video. But I won't lie, the reveal of Dondoroko Island as a mode in 8 really pushed me over the edge, because oh my god, Infinite Wealth is going to be huge. I am massively impressed at the ambition RGG is showing with Infinite Wealth. In a golden year dedicated to high quality, highly ambitious games packed with content, RGG are committed to bringing the same energy to the most popular franchise, and I couldn't be more excited that this incredible trend is also reaching over to my favorite franchise. I feel like a little kid on Christmas seeing the incredible realization of all these genre-defining games of this year, like Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, and more being extended to the Yakuza games, which I have grown so fond of in recent years. I would have been satisfied if I had gotten to experience these incredible games this year and then move on to my cherished next game in the Like a Dragon series. But no, it is quite evident with everything RGG has put out that they are vying for their top spot as well with these games and hoping to make it to some of their best ever entries, and I couldn't be happier. As we can all see from the marketing, Infinite Wealth is huge. The story is not holding back, as RGG continue to push their writing forward in interesting and devastating ways for our beloved characters. The story trailer really showed that, and the star power they are ready to bring to the table. But most importantly for me, it reaffirmed the writer's own commitment to keep coming up with creative, original, and modern stories that engage the audience without resting on their patterns from the past, which would have been really easy to do considering that these previous storytelling has brought us some of the most enjoyable stories, beloved characters, and absurd twists that we all have reveled in. And of course, I couldn't be happier. I sometimes feel quite at odds with the popular consensus sometimes regarding the interpretations of these game stories with regards to their pacing, tone, themes, and overall more subtle messaging. I quite enjoy all the games in their own unique way, even if I don't quite see my interpretation being shared among the wider audience. But I think it's a testament to the writing that others are still able to enjoy the stories in their own way while being thoroughly entertained. I really do think it takes a lot of underappreciated skill to bring high quality narrative that can be enjoyed throughout multiple angles. That, coupled with the fact I think we can all see that the writing has improved substantially in the most recent games. And well, I think we can all glean from that story trailer. We are in for one hell of a ride. RGG have had a couple of public demos of both games at various industry events, which has given us a huge amount of videos breaking down the moment-to-moment gameplay we can expect from both of these games. It's a lot, but my main takeaway, at least for Infinite Wealth, is that RGG have improved in two different directions, and I couldn't be happier. As bizarre as it is to say, with a game series that has 8 mainline titles in it alone, this will be the first game in a long time where we're getting a sequel to a Like a Dragon game. Obviously, what I'm referring to here is the fact that this is the second time ever we will experience turn-based combat in the series. And from what I've seen so far, yeah, it looks good. It looks like nice little tweaks to the system to make it even better. Positioning is more important as you get to control where the gang moves during their turn rather than timing the movements like in 7. Skills are more streamlined, and it seems that there are more team-up moves, which leads nicely onto the fact that the party roster is up with 2 completely new characters joining the fray, as well as making a fan favorite, a party member as well. Power Mates is improved in more ways than one, with a leveling system now. Oh, and Q is now in the turn-based system for the first time. But of course, you can't keep him completely shackled to that for long, as his special move will see him be able to break free and enter into real-time combat. Those are all the streamlines and tweaks to the combat, and while substantial, it looks like their main goal is to really focus in and hammer out what worked in 7 and have the best version of that with some twists be the main combat in Infinite Wealth. Of course, combat is not the only thing you do in these games, and that's where Infinite Wealth really looks like it's going to shine, because here is where RGG has surprised me the most with how much they've played around with the formula. There's a ton of things to discuss, like how the little tourist round trip in Hawaii is how Ichi has a revelation about a new job to unlock, the crazy delivery evolution of the bike minigame back in Jincho, getting into a streetcar pulls you into a Sujiman version of Pokemon Snap, and what happens when you have to face the harsh, car-centric urban streets of Hawaii, even though it is Hawaii, it's still America, so it's not that bad. Segways. I won't lie, I let out a little impressed chuckle when I saw that one. Let's not forget about Thunder Gaiden. RGG didn't forget about it considering the whole video and Xbox slots they gave to it. But that's 100% worth the publicity, given just how expansive it makes Infinite Wealth. Point being, RGG are not holding back in how much they are willing to put into Infinite Wealth, and I couldn't be happier, especially considering how easy it would have been just to point to it being in Hawaii as ambitious enough. I've been gushing about 8 for the most part, but that's mostly because of how it played with my expectations, what I thought it was going to be. Gaiden doesn't do that, but Gaiden doesn't need to do it, at least not for me. Quite honestly, Gaiden seems to be everything about the real-time game that I love. I mean that with all sincerity, and I can prove it. I really like the idea of the live-action hostesses and their implementations, both in-game and outside, and by that I mean the outside process used to choose them. Having the auditions being so closely tied to the fans that play these games, like with the inclusion of Kson, feels like a great way to honor the community. It also led to what is looking like my favorite new character so far, Akame, as first summoned Suika, also auditioned for the hostesses, but was instantly catapulted onto a main role. Okay, I'm looking forward to the rest of the game. I thought I would just get my thoughts on that because that has been the most discussed chat in the community I've seen. Anyway, let's move on. Everything that they've shown about Gaiden just warms out the Like a Dragon pattern in my heart. Pocket set, the changing of outfits, the area where they have fleshed out the most considering their commitment to the pre-order content, that being the Coliseum mode, the new karaoke songs, exploring Osaka again, really getting a new, fully evolved fighting style with gadgets and grappling hooks, and hell, even the unexpected merging of worlds as Judgment characters run into Q, even though they can probably get away with doing this now because he's a Joru at the time. I love the silly little stuff like that. That combined with the better writing, shot composition, sound design, and other aspects that make the video game stories so great, that improvement RGG have shown with their newer games really has me excited to experience it all and jump right back into that great intro we've already seen. And if that sets the tone for the rest of the game, I'll say it again, it feels like Gaiden was made for me. I think I understand why Gaiden exists now as well, as a smaller game that it is. We all know that it was originally just a flashback in the early Infinite Wealth production that ballooned to a much bigger narrative. However, I think another good reason for the studio heads to have it exist is for monetization. Gaiden is going to be a smaller game, and with the success of the Kaito files showing the numbers of more dedicated RGG fans, the ones that would buy the expansion to the sequel of a spin-off of the series, I think the top brass saw those numbers and decided that Gaiden in the mainline franchise could win. It's also very unlikely Gaiden will sell as much as Infinite Wealth, but it is likely to bring in a decent amount of sales. And if I had to speculate, I would say it is likely to bring in much more than Gaiden's budget, deliberately planned that way. The extra revenue can be used to justify the inclusion of more and more content into Infinite Wealth. And as we've seen, Infinite Wealth is setting up to be the biggest game in the series. It might be a gamble for sure, and maybe it's just my hype speaking since we're all so close, but I think it's going to pay off for them. Anyway, it's a good time to be a fan of these games, one of the best in fact, and I'm eagerly anticipating the next few months. They're sure looking like to be some of the best. I can't believe they're actually also releasing these games in the old consoles, and the fact that Gaiden is coming to Game Pass day one just as I get a PC, that's crazy.